Hi, Scorpio. How are you? And hope you're having a good year. My name is Shelley Overton, and this is your Scorpio reading for 2023. And this is the general breakdown based on the New Year's Eve chart. And we've got your chart right here. We're going to start out with your first house, which is either your rising sign, sun sign, moon, Venus, Mars, Saturn. I take all of it because I think they're all relevant if you know your chart. Each one of those planets or placements is an emphasis on this energy. And I think you can glean something from that. That being said, let's get going. On New Year's Day, we have South Node in Scorpio, and the South Node is energy from the past. It is looking back at karma and what kind of karma is coming out in whatever sign it's in, whichever house placement it's in. In this case, it is the house of self. And Scorpio is the energy of value of self to others. So do other people value you and what you have to give? Past lives coming up means there is a definite strong connection to that Scorpionic energy of hidden agendas, mysteries, research, everything Scorpionic, but it's kind of mystical in a way. Scorpio is a really mystical type of sign because it is highly psychic, and it can bring an awareness of people's feelings and connectivity to other people's energy. The past node energy, or the past life energy of the South Node, really shows us how we bring in a psychic awareness and an understanding of human behavior to this life really strongly. And it is also a point of fate or destiny in your chart. And at 11 degrees, it retrogrades backwards through the zodiac. So it is moving closer and closer to early degrees of Scorpio. And the opposite side, the North Node, is Taurus. And Taurus is future that we are unfamiliar with. So there's always kind of a learning curve with the North Node, having to find out what is unfamiliar. So it's kind of like a constant learning experience for wherever that falls in your chart. In this case, it's in Taurus, and Taurus is the sign of value, and it's more of a material value. It is the sign that rules money and love and growing things. It is very tactile and material, and in your chart, it falls in the house of marriage and partnership. This is the area of diplomacy and cooperation and balance. It is also the part of our chart where we look for our partner and want to ground in and really be part of a couple. Taurus is the sign that rules being a couple. It's ruled by Venus naturally. So throughout this year, anytime Venus is transiting a sign or changes signs, retrogrades, which it will this year, you'll be affected in your house of marriage. So currently, your house of marriage has North Node and Uranus very close in conjunction. They're within 4 degrees on New Year's Day. And the reason I use New Year's Day for this reading is because it is a photograph of the year. It's a moment in time that the year begins with for you. It isn't a midnight chart because it's Scorpio on the horizon. And that means that it lines up with your rising sign or your sun sign, or it just puts Scorpio in the first house. And that happens to fall in my time zone at 2 a.m. Eastern in Orlando. So we're just using that as kind of a general guide for your year. Having the North Node in Taurus means that there is a moment of fate where something is new and coming in and expressing itself in the marriage and partnership house. So that's new marriage, new partner, balancing, and a new awareness of diplomacy. It's something new and it's something unexpected because it's near North Node. Excuse me, it's near Uranus. And Uranus is the planet of the unexpected because it is the ruler of quantum energy. Quantum energy is when the energy comes at us from seemingly non-linear places, and it comes from every direction. The information is very psychic, very channeled. It is higher spiritual understanding, so is the collective awareness, and it comes to us randomly, so we can't necessarily make it linear and understand it in a logical, reasonable sense. So we just have to accept it for what it is. Information comes to us randomly during this time. And at 15 degrees, it's in the middle of the sign. It's in the very grounded, fixed area of that particular sign. It is Capricorn energy, so it's Capricorn Taurus, and that means that there is a strong growth energy, building something, and also the energy of Capricorn for the middle decan, or the middle 10 degrees of that particular sign. And that is an ambitious, career-driven type of energy, very grounded and wanting to build something larger, like a legacy in your life. And that comes into your house of marriage. So chances are, if you are getting married, which it is highly likely from my perspective, that you will be getting married this year, if you're not already, or there will be a significant person coming into your environment. That energy is going to be a very strong energy around career and building something and building finances. So note that that is the energy of that Taurus going in your 8th house or 7th house. But also the moon, which is a significator of what's happening, is also joining within 4 degrees on the other side of the North Node. So I find it really interesting in this chart. You have the North Node at 11, and 4 degrees on one side is the North Node, is Uranus, and 4 degrees on the other side is the moon. And so these three are acting very strongly in tandem. I have chills with this. Very likely that you will start off a new relationship this year, and it probably is going to be one of commitment. Another reinforcement of that energy is the fact that Juno, the asteroid of marriage, is, and one of the moons of Jupiter, by the way, is right on the last degrees of your romance and creativity house. And that is the Leo house, which rules connection and connectivity and relationships. And it's at the end degrees, which means a push towards finishing off that storyline, a romance storyline. But it's also in Pisces, which is the agape love, or universal love that we give people, an unconditional love. So Juno at 24, Uranus is in sextile by sign. It's not exactly yet, it's not exact yet, but it will be coming into exact in the next couple of years. But the moon, not long after this chart, of course, within a day, was in positive sextile aspect to Juno and Neptune, being the ideal situation. Okay, backing the bus up to Sagittarius, your second house. Second house of Sagittarius is the energy of travel, foreign culture, foreign people. It is a love of travel. It is a love that can come in from another culture or another ancestry, another background. So you're really connecting romantically, potentially, to someone who is from another country or of foreign descent. Same thing, right? Anyway, so Sagittarius time of year really accents that, and that happens in late November, early December. You don't have any planets there, any transits currently, but that doesn't mean it isn't being triggered somehow. Jupiter is a ruler of that house for you. And so wherever Jupiter is, it is hearkening back to the second house, which is the house of love and money and building something, growing something. It is also the house of diet. So there's a strong likelihood that you enjoy food from other cultures, Italian, Mexican, that kind of thing. And Jupiter is currently just at early degrees of Aries, which is actually in positive cooperative energy to the fire energy of Sagittarius. Jupiter in a fire sign of Aries is in your house of work and health and service. And so that means there's an expansion and a drive and ambition infused into your house of work for the next 5 months, because Jupiter moves into Taurus in May. It is moving into the house of work over this next few months until May. And it is there. It was there at the beginning of the year. It was there at the beginning of last year. So it's kind of like, it's the same thing all over again, very deja vu moment this year and last year, as Jupiter is in the same position. So you find it very expansive. Jupiter is now direct. It went direct at the end of last year. So for the next 5 months, it will be moving forward, being very ambitious, self-promoting. You'll be able to really utilize the energy of Jupiter to express more of your drive, more of your ambition around self, around marketing. It can be sales. It is also construction, building something, and the energy of firefighters and emergency workers. It is in the house of the military, so there may be some military connection to someone that you know, or even yourself, that's coming out at this time. I've got chills with that, so I know that this is true. I have a Scorpio rising. It's true for me. So anyway, over the course of this next 5 months, you will have a strong energy around masculine energy and males coming in the work environment. There may be someone who you haven't even seen yet, but as Jupiter goes on throughout the year, there will be a conjunction to Chiron, which is one of the stronger aspects Jupiter makes this year, and Chiron is the wounded healer. So it will bring out a storyline around men, masculine, the divine masculine, also aggression, assertiveness, ambition, and all of the themes that I just listed from Aries energy. I want to say that information will be in the extended reading, which you can get to through the link below. And it's going to be on my Patreon page. And I do have different tiers for Patreon. You can get that video for as little as $1. So I just want to recommend that you go down if you want to know more details about the year month by month. That will be in the description below. So going back to the third house of Capricorn, Capricorn is the ruler that is on your cusp of communications, transportation, elementary education. This is also an energy of children. It is writers, it is broadcasters and podcasters. Having Capricorn in this house really expands your ability to be lasting in whatever endeavors you express through that energy, through the Gemini energy, which naturally rules that house. And Capricorn is a long-lasting, mature, elderly kind of energy. So it is the wise person or a very traditional, maybe even conservative energy that comes in that area, So it can be mentors coming in, but there is a lasting power with Capricorn. It roots in like the roots of an oak tree, and really brings you staying power in your communications. But that being said, currently we have Pluto wrapping up its time in this particular house. And over the course of Pluto being in Capricorn, there has been this energy of responsibility and ownership associated with our words, associated with things that are hidden, what's going on, agendas behind the scenes, but also an expression of your nature, your mindset, your ideas. And I can tell you, as having had this energy for about 14 years, since it went in around 2008, communications have been difficult. It's as if a lot of people don't even hear what you're saying. They may not really listen to you. And that energy will be wrapping up as Pluto goes into Aquarius on the 23rd of March. It will come back for last gasp, kind of trying to drive the point home about ownership of your own personal voice. And that happens for about 5 months this year and also next year under the retrograde back into Capricorn. Currently, we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. It is retrograding back to about 8 degrees. And so anything you have up to 8 degrees Capricorn or in earth signs are going to have a trigger with this. It will be about the material world. Earth signs rule the material world and groundedness. And so look for that. The cardinal signs are going to take a hit because it's a friction point. It is an opposition to Cancer. It is a square to Libra and Aries. So if you have those signs, planets in those signs, you can find that that's going to be more of a direct hit to that energy, and a shift and change is imminent and requested and required. That falls, the cardinal signs fall in your house of subconscious, your house of work and hidden enemies, and also your house of travel. As the year begins, we have Venus about to go into Aquarius. She's wrapping up the storyline of communications in one sign, in one area of your life, communicating with women, sisters, mothers, female friends, etc. As she goes into Aquarius, she's going to be triggering your house of home and family. This is the beginning of a new story. It's, of course, Saturn is already in Aquarius, so you've been dealing with the energy of career, entrepreneurship, independence, independent mindedness throughout the last 2 years. And now Venus goes into Aquarius. Yes, you've had the sun in Aquarius and other planets there over the course of the last 2 years. But for this year, Venus initiates the Aquarian age with Pluto on her heels. The sun will get there, then Pluto will get there, and then Mercury will go direct and also go into Aquarius. So as these planets all shift out of Capricorn, wrapping up a lot of the story around hierarchy, around systems and dogma, ideas, beliefs that are grounded and cannot be changed, then you're going to find This is a strong shift into a new era of autonomy. You're going to express this energy in your home and family energy in that area of your life. And so you're going to really start to put your boundaries up. You're going to have to set up the boundaries because Pluto rules the subconscious. It is a very connected, psychically connected energy. Around family, you may feel like now is the time to start breaking free from a lot of the family connections that have held you back for your bigger vision and bigger purpose in your life. And that will come in March 23rd. Pluto moves into Aquarius. Doesn't get very far. It really stays within the first 22 minutes of 0 degrees before it retrogrades and then ultimately goes back into Capricorn in June. And so you're going to get a taste of it for a couple months. And then over the course of the next couple of years, we will go back and forth between the last degrees of Capricorn, the first degrees of Aquarius. But in March, we will also have a shift of other planets, which are going to really bring about other major shifts for you, including Jupiter transiting into Taurus and Saturn going into Pisces. Mars will go direct on January 12th, and Mars is up in your eighth house of commitment. Currently, Mars retrograde means that there were two choices, two commitment options that could come in for marriage and partnership. It could come in for business and it's ideas, it's law, legalities, court system. So you may find that there were two things going on legally. Just as a reference, if this is, in fact, the end of a marriage and the beginning of another one, it could be finalizing divorce papers and starting marriage certificates for the other. So it's the paperwork associated with the legalities of that situation. Mars retrograde means there's a decision that has to be made. At the same time that Mercury is retrograde, quincunx or 150 degrees in difficult aspect to that energy, you may find that there is a storyline that connects both Gemini and Capricorn, especially because in your chart, Capricorn rules the Gemini house. And then we have Pluto in that house. And then Mars is in the Pluto area of the sky in Gemini. So there is kind of a duality, a reciprocity going on between Capricorn and Pluto and Mars in Gemini. So when Mars is retrograde, which is the first 12 days of the year, you will feel like it's a difficult choice to make. You may be going back to the choice from the past and trying to understand how you can make that work. And then Mercury also in the very rooted energy of Capricorn also goes to the past and looks to the communication, looks to the ideas, the analysis of what's going on with that, and tries to understand, especially since Mercury, Pluto, and Venus were all joined together in late degrees of Capricorn as the year began. There's definitely a female connectedness, a connection and commitment energy going on from Pluto with the woman energy in that part of the sky. And then over in Mars in Gemini, it's almost as if the Mars energy, the masculine energy, is having to make a choice around the female energy. And then Mars goes direct, like I said, about 1,000 times. Like I said, Mars goes direct, and then the action can be taken because while Mars is retrograde, it pulls the energy back so that you, again, like I said, go back to the past. But going forward, Mars wants to express forward, wants to act on things. And in an energy of intellect and communication, retrograde and technology, it holds up that energy and it can't actually be expressed out and forward. So we're being held back while Mars is retrograde. And as Mars goes forward, then now things can move forward, things can release, storylines around legalities can move forward, et cetera, ideas, communication. And that is in your house of commitment. So there may be a new commitment being made around a choice between something that balances your life with a marriage partnership, with a business partnership, or even a combination of the two. Moving into your fourth house, going around the zodiac, we're hitting kind of two houses every time I do this, so it'll probably go pretty quickly now. Saturn in Aquarius has been triggering your home and family life. It's where we want to be free, but there's a restriction from the freedom. As Saturn wraps up its time in Aquarius, it does not retrograde back into Aquarius during this retrograde cycle. So it won't get back to Aquarius for another 28-ish years, maybe 26 years. And so you're going to find that this is really the final push of the structure around technology, around ideas, eccentricity. It isn't going to be that those things will not come in, because when Pluto gets to Aquarius, we're starting that cycle with a different edge to it. It will be more the psychological upheaval and more about how we commit to our own agendas with a partner, as opposed to Saturn, which is much more about hierarchy and career, life purpose. That's the energy that Aquarius has been really affecting for the last 2 years. And that translates to family and career, and the dynamic between family and career as you're able to be free to take care of the kind of career you want. It does relate to autonomy and entrepreneurship specifically, because Aquarius is the entrepreneur of the zodiac. It goes against the norm, which is its position being the next sign after Capricorn, which rules the norm. So we move into the next area there with Saturn. Saturn goes into Pisces in March also, and then it opens up a complete expression of energy around psychic awareness, creativity. It will be a creative artistic renaissance. It will be photography, film. There'll probably be something new coming into the film realm. So Saturn moves into Pisces at 8:35 a.m. on the 7th of March, and that is within an hour of the new moon, or excuse me, the full moon in Pisces, which means our full moon in Virgo, sun in Pisces on that same day. So it's a very potent Saturn, very potent new moon or full moon, very potent full moon in Pisces on that day. And you'll find, let's see, it's at 16 degrees of that particular sign, which, lucky me, happens to not only be my Saturn return, but my Chiron. Chiron gets hit by the full moon. So it should be a really interesting time. And actually, that could translate, if you're the same, if you were born in a time with Saturn in Pisces, or which is around 1991, 89 to 91 timeline, you will find that this is going to trigger you. The Saturn moving into Pisces will trigger you for more creative career life. Okay, currently your fifth house, Saturn moving out of your home and family sector, means there will be something shifting on both ends of it. So something will leave with career, and you'll go into your house of creativity and romance and leadership, which is a really wonderful energy for Saturn to move into, because it shifts it away from that feeling like you can't get anywhere with the home energy to a creative endeavor. And Saturn will bring that kind of a playful energy into your life. And Pluto going into the early degrees of Aquarius means that, again, there is a subconscious subliminal energy about how you relate to the people and commit to family members and have freedom at the same time. So you're really learning about a deep psychic awareness and boundaries with others, and also detachment and being part of a collective while not being restricted and held back from that collective. Saturn in Pisces will be in the fifth house, so creating the structure and the career pathways with an awareness, a psychic ability, intuitively knowing what to do, but also bringing in a creative energy to that. Vesta, the asteroid Vesta, hearth and home, is in your house of romance. So it is highlighting changing your home environment somehow and making it more of an ideal situation as it moves forward and joins up with Neptune. Neptune is at 22 degrees. It is a very significant number for partnership and connecting to another person, because it's two people. 2 2, it's accented. It's a very strong number that's been coming in numerologically into astrology in the last few years. Actually, I remember specifically one of the last 2 years in January, 22 was the degree that Capricorn Pluto was at with Uranus. So there was a sextile, I believe, with those two coming in, or a square. I can't remember which. I think it might have been a square. And then Juno, the asteroid of marriage, is at 24 degrees in your house of romance. So those are all kind of coming through to really solidify a story around romance and coupling up, and actually universal love, unconditional love. And then we talked about your house of marriage, or your house of work and health. That's the Aries house. So anytime we have planets going through Aries this year, which will be Aries season, that is the end of March, early April, that will be the time that work and assertiveness and ambition are really going to be highlighted, and self-promotion are right on spot, in alignment. Okay, seventh house we also discussed, that's your Taurus house. There will be more energy with Jupiter coming into your house of marriage. And so that's going to be finances, which are strongly going to be highlighted this year between Scorpio and Pluto, and all of the planets going through Taurus, including Jupiter, Uranus, North Node. Strong financial focus for Scorpio and Taurus this year. Moving up into your Cancer house, that is travel. Currently, you just have Pallas Athena and Black Moon Lilith are up in that area as well. And Pallas Athena is the goddess warrior. So there is a strong feminine energy coming in to say, no, I need to do this. It can be around the home. It can be women associated with mom, sisters, aunts, that kind of thing. Real strong feminine energy in travel and foreign lands. It is also homeland with Cancer up there, so having a connection to homeland. And then as Mars goes into that area, it will be a strong chance to go back to a homeland or travel to see family members. Leo is not being triggered right now by planets, but Leo on your midheaven associates to fame and getting attention from your leadership ability and your creativity. You're a very dramatic orator and storyteller. That can come through with children, writing children's books, being the center of attention in your career life. Even if you're not doing something like writing books, it could be a teacher, anything with children. The children energy is coming in strongly for your career, and always does with a Scorpio rising. So Leo time of year is really strong for you for creative endeavors and for career. That is late July, early August. Virgo is on your house of community and people associated with your career and life purpose, as well as friendships associated with that and money from career. Because Virgo is strongly associated with work and practicality and pragmatism, you work really hard to get your money. And whenever Virgo is highlighted, which is late August, early September, that's going to be a very strong workaholic energy for you. And Virgo is the sign of the workaholic. So if you have planets transiting there or, living there natally, you're very inclined to a strong work ethic. Finally, the 12th house, Libra, the subconscious part of the chart, the strong connectivity to other people. It can mean that you have a difficult time balancing your relationships with other people psychologically or psychically. You have low boundaries to say no to people. So that's an area to work on, especially whenever there is a transit in cardinal signs to that house. So Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. Anyway, so whenever planets transit your 12th house, you have a deep psychological connection to the Libra balancing and diplomacy energy. It is also the area where you do best with connecting to a partner, and maybe there's a stronger potential to make money through being in a partnership. So just consider that, especially with the Taurus energy on the marriage and partnership house. You do well making money with a partner. So that's your year in a nutshell. I want to thank you for coming. Just real quick, the Mercury retrogrades this year are in Earth signs, starting with Capricorn in January, Taurus in May, and October is Virgo. Wrapping up the year with a Capricorn Sagittarius retrograde over the end of the year. And I just want to give you a heads up, those are going to affect your Earth houses, starting with your third house of communication. So of course, having a voice, reevaluating what you've said to people, how you think about things, that is the beginning of the year. May is going to be about money and partners. September, October is going to be about money through career, getting a lot more work in. And I've got lots of chills talking about your retrograde, so it's going to be pretty big for you this year. And then finally wrapping out the year with that Capricorn, Sagittarius, second house money energy. So know that you're going to have to review the energy of new storylines around commitment to being in the public eye or being on giving your voice out to the public or expressing your voice. And then also money through travel, money through foreign energy or connecting to people in a relationship or in a couple, and also growing something possibly with foreigners. Okay, that's really the end this time. Thank you so much for joining me. And please do check out the extended reading down below. And we'll see you throughout the year. Thanks again. Have a great 2023.
Hi, this is Shelley. Thank you for joining us this week. To contact me for a private reading, go to angeliczodiac.com under the Readings tab. To purchase my ebook, Learn Astrology, you can find it at angeliczodiac.com. Background music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Be sure to check back next week and subscribe through iTunes at AstroEnergy Astrology Show.